to really make those listings stand out is optional services. So an optional service on GunBroker is something like adding to your listing, highlighting or bolded titles. You can have colored titles, even like subtitles and different information that you can add onto that listing. There's even ways to be featured on GunBroker's homepage. So it's a way for working with GunBroker with those optional services. It's something that I believe costs a small percentage of the sale when it actually sells, but a huge way to get people eyeing your items a lot more. And then along with all of this, you'll hear me say this probably a few times throughout the presentation because it's what we're all about, but let's automate, right? As much as we can. I just mentioned so many things that are important to add to a listing. If I'm manually copy and pasting or adding those for every single item that I'm selling, it's going to take a long time. So the more I can automatically pull this product information that I'm talking about from, again, my own database or maybe a distributor's, someone that I'm doing some drop shipping with, a awesome way to get all of this information that we're saying will help boost your sales, but in a quick, automated manner. So automate. You'll hear it a few times. Cool. And in the same way of repeating my words, let's go volume. So another big factor here that the top sellers are typically taking advantage of is let's get not just high quality items, but a high volume of high quality listings up on GunBroker. It's something where, just based on the season, based on the political climate, all this different stuff, certain items might sell better than others. So the more items I have listed on GunBroker, the better chance I have to, kind of hit that niche that might be flowing through. So just a really good way of again, having a wide net and trying to get as many sales as possible. And again, goes with automation, right? So the more I can automate, the more volume I can have is what we see typically. So ways to have more volume, not just to find, not just finding more items, which is a part of it, but avoid getting delisted. You want to make sure you're following the listing guidelines for the items you're selling. GunBroker is looking out for if we have keyword spamming when creating a description. If you're putting things in a category that's absolutely inaccurate, either on purpose or on accident, it's something that's eligible to get delisted and pulled down by GunBroker. So again, on the theme of categories here, it's not just having a category that stands out, but I want to keep my items up. So I really want to be sure that I have accurate categorization for the items that I'm listing. Along with volume, right? A really good way to add additional volume to what you maybe already are selling or want to sell on GunBroker. It's integrate with your own inventory. Great if you have it. If you have a gun shop or a warehouse, cool. Let's get your own inventory and use stuff up on GunBroker. But let's also integrate with dropshippers. Having that liability of having a bunch of items on hand can sometimes be kind of spread out by putting dropship inventory from a lot of known distributors up on GunBroker. Again, just another way to diversify what you're selling without having to have everything necessarily on hand at your store. A really good way for just determining, hey, for the stuff that I know sells and sells well, cool, I'll keep that on hand. But the stuff I'm not so sure about, let's work with the dropshipper. Let's get it listed up there, and no harm if it's not selling super fast. Cool. So along with kind of owned and dropship, sometimes we see people that work with new items as well as used inventory. So again, a great way for you to stand out is just having that kind of diversity. Somebody looking for a deal on a used item or maybe just a rare item that you have that is used. Cool. Let's get it up there. The more the merrier. And then, utilize the different listing types that GunBroker offers. So there are fixed price listings that come with take a shot options. It's similar to the buy it now feature on eBay, but a way to give customers an option of, oh man, I can get a really good deal on this if I just take a shot. So a good way to, again, just give people more options to buy from you. And then auctions, another type of listing that is a way for people to have that kind of eBay-like experience of, hey, I want to put a bid in. People spend all day on GunBroker trying to put bids and get the best deal possible. So you can always protect yourself by not letting bids be set too low. But a really good way to, again, diversify and not just have those fixed price listings, but some auction listings up as well, and let the bidding wars continue to get your items sold. And then just a cool trick there. There is a way to schedule those auction listings. We see that scheduling those during like peak times when people are on, which It's later than I would think for other industries, but a lot of people here, around 10 p.m. at night is a peak time for people to be browsing, and a time that you'll stand out with those auction listings. Along with that, kind of a tighter time frame of 7 to 10 days works well in the auction. So it's not something where someone is waiting a month in order to know if they had their auction won or not. Cool. So the next tip we have here is being consistent. Just some things that we notice from top GunBroker sellers that are doing really well. That what they're able to do is consistently get new items up. Like I mentioned earlier, it kind of goes along with that volume, but let's be consistent about making sure I refresh what I'm putting up on GunBroker. Like I said, if something is not selling well, or is, let's push it up there so that we can just make sure we have a handle on all the items at once here. And then being accurate and up to date, obviously hugely important. Like I said, those accurate categories, those accurate characteristics, all huge for people to want to buy and have trust in a top seller, but also up to date inventory, right? So you don't ever want that situation where someone buys something from you and for whatever reason, oh man, I don't have that in stock. So the best that we can keep items in a consistent up to date status on GunBroker, the better for sure. And then, kind of the order fulfillment side of things too. We've talked a lot about getting listings up on GunBroker, but it's half the battle. To really stand out as a top seller, you want to make sure you're fulfilling your orders quickly, right? Whether you are fulfilling that from your internal network, your internal fulfillment systems, or again, if it's being sent to a vendor or a dropship distributor. Let's have that process be tight and fast. That way, people will keep coming back to you if they say, okay, cool, they were accurate with their estimations on how fast it would get here. So I'm going to make sure I buy from them again. And that goes, obviously in the two-way industry, there's an extra step on a lot of these items. Now, it's not just processing order information, but it's processing and transmitting FFL information. So as everybody here knows, that's a major need for anyone that's selling a FFL item. Is being able to get the information from the end customer. Maybe it's an FFL transfer that they're doing. But getting that FFL license number, address, all the good stuff that you need to send over to a distributor or to your own internal warehouse to accurately send that item out. So huge for bound books, huge for compliance, making sure that we send and receive those FFL details quickly. And then, what kind of the last bullet here goes along with everything else I'm saying, but if you do all those things, if you have accurate data, if you're fulfilling items quickly and all that good stuff, you should be able to get high feedback ratings, right? I know personally, whenever I'm looking for, any item I'm buying, I want to see, some sort of good feedback in the past. I don't want to be the very first guy who's buying from you. It's always good to see some positive feedback in any online sale. So, and a cool note here, a lot of times, GunBroker sees that if you're leaving feedback on a seller, which is an option, you say, hey, it was great working with this seller. Everything was easy peasy, transmitting data. Cool. They're very likely to rate you highly in return. So one of those, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours scenarios, but plays well here to get those high feedback ratings. And honestly, what the top sellers don't do, it's almost the opposite of what I was saying previously, but the top sellers are avoiding listing stale inventory. They're not keeping their inventory up to date on GunBroker, so they don't truly know, will I be able to fulfill this item? Goes along with stockouts. You want to make sure that you keep having that volume I was talking about up on GunBroker, so that you're consistently rolling, getting items up and getting orders in. You don't want to miss estimated delivery dates, obviously, like I talked about with having that tight fulfillment cycle. If you miss an estimated delivery date, it's a ding on you in the end buyer's eyes. And what top sellers oftentimes aren't doing is creating these listings manually. Like I said, if we're going to do everything that we're suggesting here, doing that on an individual or spreadsheet upload basis can be really tough. It takes maybe a team to do that in bulk or in volume. So instead of creating listings manually, let's look into some automation. Let's take data that I already have in a system somewhere, a point of sale system or a distributor's inventory system, and let's automate getting all that data up to GunBroker to have accurate listings with volume and keeping things up to date, like we talked about. So that automation is across the board. Getting inventory automated, getting orders automated, and getting FFL information automated.
Awesome. Well, those are great tips for selling on GunBroker, Mike. I mean, I think a lot of really good data in there. I've spent a lot of time over the last, I'm sure we all have, everyone on this call, just looking through different listings and trying to see like who's really doing it well. And pulled, all these images are pulled directly from GunBroker, right? And we'll see more as you'll see a lot more, obviously, a lot more examples, good ratings, good high quality pictures. But I think to your point, Mike, I found quite a few further down and on the search results that weren't high quality, and didn't have all the data, and we're missing UPC. So it's certainly not something like this is not something that everybody's already doing, right? I would think that a lot of people fall into that not really optimized correctly kind of categorization when we're talking about it like that. So super helpful. Appreciate it, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Cool. So yeah, jumping into the Flxpoint section of this, like Ben mentioned, we wanted to give some top tricks, but really a big part of what we're trying to get into today is talking about Flxpoint and some tools that we've put into place to do all the things that we're mentioning that the top sellers do, and like we said, including some cool new features with category mapping. So we can jump into that. Beautiful. So just for people, I know some people here are have been are aware of Flxpoint, some are even customers. But for those who just don't know what Flxpoint is, what we're all about, we just wanted to give a brief overview here. So this diagram is one of my favorites for explaining a bit of what we do because it's a lot of things. But like as you can see here on the left-hand side of the diagram, we're able to connect to product data, inventory, pricing, from various different what we call sources or fulfillment sources. Anyone that's eventually going to fulfill an order for me or provide me with product information. So like I've alluded to a few times here is we do have pre-built integrations with all the top distributors in the two-way space. We don't have enough room to list them all here, but names like RSR, Ellipses, Sports South, Chattanooga, we're adding more and more all the time. So it's something where that is one great place to get a lot of the information that I'm talking about for listing up to GunBroker. So if you don't have necessarily in your internal systems great UPC data or all the characteristics that we're talking about, there's a really good chance that some of these dropship vendors do. So getting that information into Flxpoint is a key and a big step for getting the consistent listings with volume. But also we know that's not the only place where you're going to get your inventory that you want to fulfill orders, right? So many people, especially in the two-way space, they have a shop, they have a point of sale system, they have a warehouse, whether that's a third-party logistics company or their own warehouse. We want to be able to integrate with those sources as well. So, at heart, Flxpoint is a e-commerce automation company, but we're also an integration company. We have a ton of what we like to say are plug-and-play integrations in the 3PL space. If you are working with, some of the names you see here, Ship Hero, Deliver, Where to Go, or in the more of the internal fulfillment space. So I have a point of sale system. I'm using Axis for my gun shop, and I want to get all the inventory information I have in Axis into Flxpoint. Great, we have those pre-built integrations. We also have ways to connect with that internal inventory without a pre-built integration. If you have a good trusty spreadsheet, we can automate that in a ton of scenarios. So some really good ways for us to kind of do what we're saying here on the left-hand side of the diagram, but we're combining the quantity and aggregating the data from multiple vendors, but your own internal fulfillment as well. The end goal is, we know these distributors oftentimes sell the same products, and we know you probably sell them yourselves too. So let's combine those all into one single digital product inside of Flxpoint so that we have the best of the best data from anywhere I can get it, whether that's the best images, the best descriptions, the best titles, the best attributes, everything I can grab from those various fulfillment sources you see on the left-hand side of the screen. Let's aggregate all of that into one really, really good looking digital product. And then the end goal with that product is let's get it listed on GunBroker, and not just one, but let's get, thousands and thousands of products that I'm getting from all these different sources uploaded to GunBroker in bulk fashion via API. So we're not dealing with spreadsheet uploads. We're not dealing with having to map certain columns on a spreadsheet to GunBroker's requirements. We have API connections going directly to GunBroker so that all the data that we formulate in Flxpoint, again, coming from that left-hand side of the diagram, is sent to GunBroker in a bulk fashion, and not just creating those listings on GunBroker, right? I mean, that's a big part of it. But we got to keep them up to date. If a quantity changes and something goes out of stock, we will tell GunBroker that immediately based on us knowing exactly the stock levels for each of those vendors or warehouses that we're connected to. If a price changes and that it reflects on the price that you want to sell, if your cost changes and that it reflects the price you want to sell on GunBroker, great. Let's update that immediately, making sure that you're getting the margins you expect when you're selling. Same with product data. If a distributor gets a batch of new images from one of their brands, Cool. Let's push it up to GunBroker so that we can keep things flowing. Like I said, have that, we don't want to have that stale data sitting up there on the platform. And then kind of following backwards from that left to right flow that I just mentioned, we're going to get orders, right? The whole goal of this is to get some people buying our items. So we're going to have orders flowing through and hopefully in volume, right? So once that happens, taking away some of the manual aspects of having to go place that order, say, hey, who's the cheapest on this order? Who has the best margins for me? Let me go send it to them. Let Flxpoint take care of that for you. That's part of our bread and butter, really, of having your business rules into our system to determine if an order comes in and multiple distributors or my own warehouse could fulfill it, who gets it. Super commonly, we see a prioritization of order fulfillment inside of Flxpoint, where, like I said, order comes in, I can already tell Flxpoint, if I have it in stock in my warehouse, great, send it there. I'm always going to prefer my warehouse to fulfill it because I'm not having to go out elsewhere. But if I don't, show me the lowest cost vendor that has it after you've searched my warehouse's inventory. So it's a really good way of just, again, taking the manual effort off of you or your order management team and giving it to Flxpoint to automate. So the automation of orders going through our system into the distributors, and along with that, FFL details, right? GunBroker has a great FFL lookup tool, so the end customer can select a transfer location for the FFL. Let's get all that information into Flxpoint and get it to the either your internal bound book or to a drop ship vendor for making sure that order is fulfilled in a timely manner. We won't spend a lot of time on it here, but we also have good integrations for accounting and ERP software. So we have a ton of good order data and fulfillment data in our system. If you are working with an ERP or accounting system, a lot of times you want to shoot that data to them. So kind of closing the full loop on the order cycle there. I mean, I could spend like an hour on that slide, but I think that's the good heavy hitters there on just what we're all about. And comes along with that. I don't know, Ben, if you want to speak to this more, but good reviews. We're always proud to show this slide of people love us. We have a ton of customers and saying nice things. So always go check us out if you haven't heard of it before.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I mean, I think one excellent job as always with the last slide. I know it's a fan favorite when any webinar, any customer interaction, and really any interaction we have. On this side of things, I mean, the only thing I would say is that if there's anybody on this call, we go to SHOT every single year. We were at SHOT a couple months ago, met a handful of customers there, obviously great partners. My only call out here is we're doing a lot of stuff in the 2A space. We go to a lot of dealer shows as well. So if you guys have you have our information, if you guys are going to any of those events and you want to, reach out to us and meet in person at any point in time, more than happy to do that. We truly are all about customers. We love meeting customers. We love talking to business owners and helping them find creative ways and efficient ways to grow the business faster and better. So just let us know.
Always a good time at SHOT. Every year.
Yeah, always. Always.
All right, cool. So jumping into our next topic here. So what a lot of people might have signed up for the webinar to hear more about something I'm super excited for. We are launching the really first AI-powered category mapping tool for GunBroker. It's something where we talk about all this automation for getting listings up accurately on GunBroker. A huge pain point for doing that is accurately categorizing. GunBroker does a great job of providing you with tons of different category options, right? Like I was talking about, those lower level categories that might make you stand out more. But making sure that you properly, when creating your listings, are mapping to the right category for your item. For those who've experienced this, there's oftentimes there's always a numeric category code that we need to reference when creating a category. So not just knowing that the item needs to go into the AR parts category, but the unique category code for that category that GunBroker accepts to make sure that it's categorized properly. So our tool here that we're gonna showcase for you is all about finding those categories, finding them quickly, and making them accurate. So to save yourself a huge amount of time when creating listings in bulk on GunBroker. Cool. So we'll show you the tool in action here, but just as a background of what it is it's the AI tool that we've developed. It's been trained on GunBroker's existing category structure. We're going to continue to update that as well, as if there's any changes to GunBroker's category hierarchy, we'll make sure our model is trained on that. But what we're doing is we're automatically recommending, just based on essentially the product data that we have. Like I said, we have great product data coming from distributors or your own warehouse. And we know sometimes that product data isn't complete from one distributor maybe. But if you have that overlap that I'm talking about, we're working with a couple, we have a really good chance of creating that, full, complete digital product with as many attributes and titles and descriptions as we have at our disposal. And then using that data that we have, using some outside data as well, just from the industry that we've taught the model, we're able to accurately categorize based on the data we have at hand with an 80% accuracy. So it's something that we're really, really happy about just taking, and sometimes small data sets and properly putting them in the right GunBroker category for all the reasons that we've mentioned in this webinar here. But, the biggest call out I could make is we're saving you 90% of time on manually mapping those for, everybody listening here. Everyone knows time is money, right? The more time I have to spend making sure this is right, and even the headaches of making sure, I didn't get delisted for using the wrong category or having to update that, it makes a huge, huge difference. Let me spend that time elsewhere. Let me spend it on marketing or on my business, in my shop, talking to customers, however you feel best. We want to save you that time. And then obviously reducing those errors that I'm talking about by even higher percentage, by 99%. We are very, very accurate with these mappings. So you can have that kind of peace of mind that, the category you map to is correct and won't be delisted, and not just correct, but on the lower level category that is going to get you the most views, the most accurate description of your products.
Awesome. That's a great overview, Mike. And then for everyone on the call, we'll hop into the product demonstration immediately after this. One thing I will add, the time is huge, right? We talk to people all the time that say, well, I've got like 5% of my catalog listed on GunBroker. And the reason is I just don't have the time. Can you guys help me automate that? I'm doing everything manually, that kind of stuff. So that part is absolutely huge. And generally what I will say is that when we talk AI, I just want to make it clear for everybody that we are not connected to ChatGPT. We're not using any other third-party engine with this. This is all proprietary. It's our own algorithm that our amazing engineering team built. And with that, it is very controlled. And that's the reason we did it that way. Oftentimes you'll see we love AI here, right? Obviously, we're on the forefront of technology. It's great. Always want to be cutting edge, but the catch to it, is that if you just open it up without those restrictions to something like matching categories on GunBroker with an unlimited data set or pulling from stuff online and things like that, it's only as accurate as the information that it's pulling from. In which case, users may have done something they may have input the wrong thing or whatever it is, right? And so we're making sure that we're only relying on the source being the actual product data from the distributors, which is accurate, and then the main source being GunBroker and its categories, right, as they are, and keeping those up to date. So just keep that in mind. I know that AI is a buzzword right now, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit, without going too technical on it, I want to give you a little bit of the detail behind it. So,
yeah, it's a great call out. Yeah, you hear it thrown around all over the place. It's good to know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, it's a great call out, man.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to nerd out about it and get to the specifics, reach out. Happy to hop on and give you the details. It's super cool.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to jump in here to the product demonstration that we're talking about. So I just jumped into Flxpoint, just a demo account that we use here. So without further ado, we're taking a look at our main dashboard here, which has some great quick hitters on some quick items you need to action throughout your entire e-commerce operation. But we want to get into the good stuff here. So I'm going to jump into this products page. So this digital product that I've been talking about of, hey, let's combine the best and the best data from all the various sources that I might have at my disposal. This is a good representation of that. I'm just going to click a random item here. I have a couple filters actually worth calling out. A couple filters that our clients use all the time to find and merchandise their data. Hey, maybe I want to look at a certain brand. Maybe I want to look at all my FFL items at a certain time. And I have a filter applied for overlap just for visual purposes, which means, hey, multiple sources carry this item. So a good representation of what we're trying to do here is great. This item is carried by Lipsy's RSR and even my point of sale system. Let's merge them together and aggregate the data between them. Good example of RSR and the point of sale being out of stock, but Lipsy's has it, right? I don't want that item to be listed as out of stock on GunBroker. I want to show that I've got it, and I have 26 units of quantity there. So Flxpoint is taking all this data, like cost data, quantity data, aggregating that so that when we do push it up to any of our sales channels that we're integrated with here, including GunBroker, we have a good representation of what the aggregated cost is, of what the aggregated inventory is, basically merged between all these various sources. So that's the, more of the dynamic fields that are changing more frequently, right? These quantities are something we're always going to be checking up to every 5 minutes to see, oh, did they get it in stock? Cool, let's add that. Same with that cost data. But some of the more static data that we see is hugely important for everything that I've been talking about here to say, again, take the best of the best data between these three sources to give me a solid title, a good description, with some good bullet pointed features and all that good stuff. Those multiple images that I was mentioning, multiple high quality images, getting all of that data into one condensed place. It goes hand in hand with our category AI tool. Because we're getting as much data as possible to make that accurate categorization. But that's not to say that you need to have multiple suppliers kind of connected here. Even if you have one, we're going to take whatever data you give us and provide that category mapping. So taking a look there at the feature we're all here for, or at least part of us. I'm going to go over to our sales channels in Flexpoint. You can see you can connect with all the major sales channels and marketplaces in Flexpoint, but I want to take a look at this GunBroker AI channel. That's the one where we've set up this AI category mapping. So previously, we gave users the ability to manage these categories, with a spreadsheet, which again, as tried and true, it just takes more time, right? If I need to map from a spreadsheet the category name that my vendor gives me to the correct category on GunBroker, even with a spreadsheet, we are seeing people spend a lot of time. So that's really where this category AI mapping came in. We have the option to analyze at any point. If you have new data or it's my first time running this, obviously in this account, we've already run the mapping. But at any point you want to analyze new data that's come in, cool, let's do that mapping for you at a click of a button. Something that fires off pretty quickly. But the end result here is going to be a screen like this, where I have a couple items that are in review state and a bunch of mapped items. And when I say mapped, it means we've mapped that category. We've taken the data that we have and chosen the GunBroker category that it should fall into. But sticking with this for review section, like I said, if we ever, we have that really, really high confidence score of being able to find these matches. But if at any point we don't, right, we don't have a ton of product data or the system just can't make a super confident match, we'll call that out for you to review. So this is a great example of that is, hey, we do have this category right here. We did map the items in these, the listings in these categories to the other shotgun accessories and parts. So I'm going to take a look at these and say, okay, for whatever reason, just probably likely based on, and this is just example data, but likely based on the information we had at hand, that wasn't the best category. This is probably, the AI feature is awesome and it does 99, maybe 95% of the work for you. But for these ones that I need to manually action or just take a quick look at and either confirm and say, yep, that's perfect. That's exactly how I wanted it, or change the category. We have a really, really quick way that we didn't have previously for doing that. So something where I can say, okay, I do want to change the category. I know that this item should go elsewhere. So we can search across all the categories GunBroker has. And I'm just going to pick a somewhat random one here so I don't waste everyone's time. But cool, that's a collectible item. I want to put that collectible item in the correct collectible gun parts and accessories category. I can do this in bulk. So we only have 2 items here that I need to action. And honestly, you're not going to have to do a ton. But if you want to wholesale change the categories that Flexpoint landed on with our AI tool, you can do that. So this is, I've done some onboarding with Flexpoint, working a lot with GunBroker, and like this part of it is my favorite. The ability to just quickly see, I don't have to go reference another spreadsheet. I don't have to go to look at GunBroker's websites to see, hey, what categories do I have available here? I just have an easy drop down that has them all displayed and that is searchable, so I can quickly recategorize if I need to. So at any point you have that ability to review the ones that we said, hey, we're not so confident on this. Go ahead and categorize these yourself. Or if you look at the ones that we have mapped, and again, you just have your own methodology for mapping a category. You want to use AI for the most part, but you want to get some human eyes on it. I totally get that. We can do that as well. So you can come in here and have the same kind of view for the ones that we did map for you so that you can take a look, recategorize as needed. So we have the same kind of feature set here to quickly look at these and make sure we recategorize if at any point we need to. The end result of all this is, like I said, just through Flxpoint's kind of standard functionality of aggregating all of this data across suppliers, we can have an item that looks like this here. So a good example item, I just got data from RSR, some pretty solid data, but I don't have the ability to match it with other suppliers and stuff like that. So just using RSR's data on this item, I would typically have this categorized just coming from the supplier from RSR as having a category 1 and a category 2. Category 1 being barrels, chokes, and muzzle devices. Category 2 being pistol barrels. That's awesome. That's good detail, but it's not an accepted GunBroker category, right? We need to pick a single numeric category. And if we go to the channel listing section, which calls out the specific attributes for publishing to GunBroker, like you see here, you can say, hey, for big commerce, I do want to use this category that I have, but for GunBroker, I need to stick with the acceptable GunBroker category. I can do that right here. So again, nice, easy drop down. If for whatever reason on a per item basis, you want to make a quick change, again, shouldn't be necessary, but you have the ability to do so. So we have a completely different category here. It is the GunBroker category that is separate from your standard product catalog, right? Because again, maybe you are listing on BigCommerce or another sales channel, and you want to keep the categories, the text categories that you have in place in a good 1-2 structure that'll all stay in place for you. But then you have the ability to put specific product categories that we know GunBroker is going to take and are going to be accurate and all that good stuff that we've talked about. So it goes along really well with our multi-channel listing tool that we have in Flxpoint of being able to list the same items on multiple channels. If you want to, on different price points with different product data, we have all the tools at your disposal needed for that there. But again, talking about categories in particular here, a huge feature, just being able to automatically, with clicking just the analyze button, wholesale change the categories for GunBroker to make sure that they're accepted. So something that we're recommending in onboarding for any of our GunBroker customers of saving yourself some time to get those listings up in bulk. But even our existing customers is, hey, if you do want to take another look at your existing GunBroker catalog and do any cleanup, we have the tools for you there. So you can publish these as new, you can overwrite your existing, just really good ways to depending on where you're at with that listing process up to GunBroker. But key that I'll mention here is just doing this in an automated approach, because checking these categories for 1 or 2 or even 10 items, not a big deal. Doing it across the board for a massive catalog, which again, with that volume that we want to see to be a top seller, a big difference there. Just real quick, that is the main thing we wanted to showcase, but it's always worth showing, because I know we have some new Flxpoint customers on the call here. Just what it looks like from that order standpoint, right? So I did mention a big part of the automation is getting listings up in bulk and keeping them up to date and making sure they have those great category structure, but also the order process. So Flxpoint has first-class tools for people in the 2A space. We are automatically grabbing the FFL information as it comes in from GunBroker, and we are going to distribute that to the suppliers as well. That way, the full order lifecycle is handled from great. I have the end customer's standard shipping and billing address, but we know we need to send this to an actual FFL. So again, just tying that loop kind of tight here, getting the FFL details and order details in from GunBroker. And I had a ton of sales here because they were all in the appropriate category with all the tips and tricks that we learned here. We're gonna have a lot of orders come through. So again, automation being the name of the game. We do have rules to place orders on hold if we didn't receive the FFL information that we need for determining what items require an FFL and what items don't. We're typically getting that directly from the distributors. But again, if there's something where you need to manually input that yourself for your own inventory, we have that feature for you as well. So really wanted to just end here with just the closing the loop on the full Flxpoint cycle from getting listings up to getting orders in and distributing that to your suppliers or to your own internal fulfillment networks. Cool. Anything I missed there, Ben?
No, man, I think you covered it really well. I mean, every time any of us really dives into this tool, but you do a really good job of just going into it and really, I think, describing exactly how the ideal flow should work. I love the examples that you picked this time around. I mean, it just gets me really, really excited. It's an awesome tool. It's going to save a ton of time. Obviously, we've demoed this with the GunBroker team. They're really passionate about it. You guys may have seen some stuff on GunBroker on FFL Unleash, one of their sites promoting it. And so continue to do some stuff. This is really just the first big splash. This thing's brand spanking new. I mean, we've had it for a couple of months since it's been like, in at least the beta testing phase, and then live for a little over a month now, with people actually getting into it and using it, which is great. So exciting stuff, man. Thanks for walking us through it.
Absolutely. Left a little bit of time for questions at least.
Yeah, we do get some time. We ended right on time, right at the 140 mark, which was our goal. So that's great. All right, y'all. Well, we will go ahead. We'll open it up for Q&A now. I've seen a couple of these come through as you were going through some stuff. Mike, we've got one from a couple we actually hear from John, asking about the UI. I don't know if you want to take that one, Mike. I will say that is a standard UI and a standard account. But if you want to go into it any further than that, Mike, I'll let you.
Yeah, happy to. Hey, John, we just talked the other day, but yeah, so it's something that wanting to beta test this out, we unrolled the automatic categorization, the AI category mapping to what's called our Flxpoint standard platform. It's a slightly newer platform that isn't perfect for every single GunBroker seller. We also have an enterprise platform, so we'll be very soon adding it to the enterprise level platform, John. So that is why the UI looks a little bit different from my screen from what you're used to seeing in Flxpoint. We just have what's called Flxpoint standard. Happy to answer any questions on that going forward.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Let's see. What else do we have here? We got one from Pedro as well, Mike. It's can you update products from the client's POS frequently to Flxpoint automated? Who's the source of truth, master data on products? Is that Flxpoint or the POS products data?
That's a great question. With Flxpoint, I like to say, a corny joke, we are flexible, right? So when you ask source of truth, I like Flxpoint can be that source of truth for you. I think it should be, in my opinion, especially when we're talking about that overlapping products, right? If your point of sale system does have some overlap with maybe a distributor that you're working with, I do think we should be the source of truth because we have all of the data in one system. But at the same time, the good thing is, to answer the first part of your question, it is automated from the point of sale system. So it's something that we can check for updates coming from that point of sale system for, let's just say, quantity numbers, right? Up to every 5 minutes. So, you almost don't have to pick between who's the source of truth because we should be just lockstep with what the quantities are in that point of sale into what's on Flxpoint. But if Flxpoint is that GunBroker listing tool that you're using, that's what I would reference, right? Because again, I can have some cross-pollination of data, but I do want to look at the system that is directly tied to GunBroker. So if I have any questions on, hey, how many units am I selling? I like to come to Flxpoint to check that out. So 100% something that is automated, and 100% something where you could use Flxpoint as that source of truth for your products.
Great. Thank you, Mike. When will this tool and new dashboard be available? We kind of touched on that one a little bit already. It's actually in the roadmap. So in that pertaining to, and just so everybody's clear on the call, we've got 2 different versions. If you want our website today right now, you're going to see a set of plans, right? And you basically have an enterprise, a pro, and a business. And so we've got 2 platforms. One is not quite as robust in some areas. When I say robust, I mean complex in terms of if-then scenarios and functionality and some other stuff, because it is in fact enterprise. And there are also some layers into that we can look at, like an example of what systems you need to sync with and how custom are those setups and how much, do we need to really configure to match your setup as it is. The other one that Mike is going through today is standard. And so depending on what your business needs, we'll recommend one or the other. So we did, as Mike already mentioned, we beta tested Category AI in standard first, and it is currently on the roadmap for Pro, which would be the enterprise UI. So we don't have the exact release, but we do know that it's ready to get teed up in a sprint, and we'll keep everybody posted through marketing communications. And obviously, if you have any questions at all, any of the customers on the call here, anybody that's interested in what that might look like from an enterprise standpoint, if you're considering that platform as a good fit for you, happy to answer those questions as they come up. And then next one we've got here, GunBroker requires manufacturer and gauge fields to be populated for ammunition when listing items directly on their dashboard. When publishing products in bulk, from Flxpoint, these fields are not available to populate, but it does allow you to still list the products. Where do we map manufacturer and gauge fields in our channel listings at Flxpoint to these specific GunBroker fields? You're going to take that one, Mike?
Yeah, and we can always dive in if we need to show you specifically on your setup, how we can get that mapped. But I typically see those mapped as characteristics, the characteristics that I was talking about earlier that can go along with a listing. And we do. There's a concept for attributes being mapped to those characteristics, or custom fields as well. In the pro version of our platform, we have the ability to set up multiple custom fields based on the gauge or the manufacturer, whatever it may be, and appropriately map it to the characteristics field on GunBroker. So Brady, we can always take a look at your setup. We can look at where that mapping lives, make sure that it's in place for you to shoot over there.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. This is a great one for you, by the way. Do we have a sandbox environment to test implementations?
Yeah, that of integrations, we get that question a lot, right? So it's something that we typically don't give a like sandbox Flxpoint account, right? I know there's options for trials and stuff like that. But the cool thing about Flxpoint, why I say, why we haven't enabled that yet, is when we're working with, Flxpoint sits in the middle, right? Is this piece of middleware that, like we talked about, we can stop or halt any scheduling or automation at any point. So we never have to worry about accidentally pushing something to a live system through Flxpoint. So Flxpoint, there's not a huge need for a true sandbox environment, because again, we can control where we're pulling data from and setting it to literally at any point in the cycle. And what I typically recommend customers do is connect to Flxpoint, right? Because we are a middleware. Connect your sandbox environments for your other applications to Flxpoint if it's available, right? If your distributor has a sandbox environment, cool, let's set up with that first so we can test the order cycle without having to accidentally place an order with a distributor or anything like that. So something where you can always talk to our sales team. They'll give you the rundown on how to get into the system, but having a true sandbox, not always necessary with Flxpoint.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. We've got another one here. It's what is the update frequency to keep Flxpoint and a distributor like RSR up to date? That's a great question.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's one of my favorite ones because we can run them very frequently. So, we're typically connected with distributors via API. There are times where the distributor prefers that we connect with them through another method like EDI or FTP. So really whatever the preferred method on connection for the distributor is, that's what we want to do. And any of those, we're able to check every 5 minutes at the least how for updated product data. Same thing going out to the sales channel, right? As soon as Flxpoint sees a product data change, again on those 5-minute intervals, we will tell GunBroker or any channel that you're connected to that something has changed. So an inherent a little bit of time for any platform to get data from point A to point B. But how often can we update? It's every 5 minutes. So something where we're really, really happy with keeping those quantities, especially up to date. So again, we can avoid those stockouts. Something I typically recommend to do with customers is give me new products once an hour, once a day. They don't need that very often, but as much as I can update inventory, do it. And that's what we want to. That's what we want to automate the most.
Excellent. Yeah, kind of going back to what you said earlier, and that's to continue with like the same messaging, but it's very flexible, right? And that's the whole idea behind it. It can be as flexible as we need to be. So that's great. And then we got another one of when's this tool and your dashboard available? What we showed you today is available right now. So you can, what Mike's playing around with is live. We've got folks that are using it today. Like we said, it was in beta for a while. We're just making sure that everything was perfect, playing around with the algorithm, adjusting the AI engine behind it, and it is ready to rock and roll. And again, we're moving it. Brady, I'm not sure if you're looking for the enterprise version of it, but that is on the roadmap as well and will be coming very soon. So we'll keep you up to date there. And then we get another one here. When will we be able to select titles from one distributor and a description from another distributor, as well as can the UPC be used primarily instead of the SKU, since each distributor uses a different SKU? So I'll take one part of this and then I'll kick it over to you, Mike. But as far as selecting different attributes or different data from different distributors, we actually do, and this is very new too. This is a new release. We have the ability to do prioritization, and you can reprioritize if you want. So if you find that a certain distributor provides better data in one particular area, you can say, hey, I want to pull information from RSR, or I want to pull data from Libsys, whoever it may be, Sports South, right? There, as far as like the individual field level, That one, depending on your setup, I would say like it's either on the roadmap or it is something that we can do at a field by field basis. But Mike, I'll let you take the rest of it to answer.
Yeah, no, I mean that's 100% accurate. It's something that you can prioritize, taking titles, descriptions, and all that good stuff from various fulfillment sources, like you said. But then, yeah, can I have the UPC used as my primary identifier? Answer to that's yes. We actually work with a cool platform called eCheckpoint, and they have a requirement. If you haven't, they're a compliance software. Go ahead and check them out if you haven't. But one of their requirements is that they want the SKU main identifier, I should say, to be the UPC of the product. So that's something that we do support, something that you're able to update that into our system and say, yep, I don't want to use the various SKUs coming from the manufacturer. So if I want to, make my own custom SKU, if I want to add a SKU prefix, if I want to use UPC as my SKU, all of that's available when we shoot it out to the end sales platform. So we're all about being able to massage that data coming from distributors or from your own system to however makes the most sense in Flxpoint before we get it out to the sales channel.
Great, thank you. What about layaway options, Mike? That's one that I'm not super familiar with, like on our side anyway.
Yeah, that's something that I'm happy to look at. I want to improve our GunBroker integration as much as possible. It's the one I spend probably the most time on. We don't have that support today. But yeah, that's cool. I'd love to hear from Matt, just see how we can properly integrate there with layaway.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely look into it. Anything we can do to make it better, obviously. It's just like this new AI category mapping. And then, are there any plans to cut the titles down to GunBroker character limitations?
The answer is yes. So this is our first foray into AI, right? We figured this would be the biggest bang for your buck, honestly, with being able to get these categories updated. Titles is in our plan. So there's a bunch of different product data areas that we want to look into going into Q2, Q3 of this year that we're looking to roll out features similar to what we just showed you today. So keep a lookout for our what's new. I know Ben spends a lot of time on getting those together. So keep a lookout for our coming soon notifications, our what's new, and you'll definitely see some good updates on that front.
Absolutely. And I'd say, just to tease it out, Brady, while we're talking about it, that up to and including assistance with descriptions and populating data and things like that. So, and the other thing we're looking into, by the way, for anyone that is interested in other channels outside of GunBroker, we're also looking at using the same type of technology that we've used for GunBroker with other channels, right, to help you guys out in the different limitations that those have. Obviously, GunBroker was our top priority, and then we're constantly improving and trying to do the best we can. And obviously, any feedback you guys have, tremendous. Please send it our way. And with that, I think we got to all the questions. Any closing remarks, Mike? Anything you want to share?
No, I'm excited. I hope people start using the tool. I mean, the clients I've talked to and our onboarding team have been blown away with how much faster onboardings in general are going with GunBroker. Yep. So I hope that continues. I hope people see good value here. But yeah, give us a shout. Any questions, any feedback at all? We're always happy to field it.
Absolutely. I'll send a copy of this recording out to everybody on this call. Anybody else who registered. So if you've got a buddy or a friend that registered and could make it, happy to send that to them. And please forward if you want to. It'll be on YouTube. If you're exploring Flxpoint and you want to talk to the sales team or talk to either me or Mike, please reach out. My email is ben.frank@flxpoint.com. You can send me an email. You can book a demo on the website at flxpoint.com/demo. And then for any customers that we have on here, please, if you have any feedback, have any questions about the tool, reach out to us. We're happy to grab some time with you and set up a call. And outside of that, I hope everybody has an awesome rest of the week. Appreciate y'all.